Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the Sandeman Street podcast, a podcast about Dundee and Dundee United, and this week Scotland, from fans of both clubs. I'm Andrew, and today I am joined, as usual, by my regular co-host Jack. Jack, how are you today?
Good, mate. How are you?
Well, I think we're both kind of on top of the world, aren't we?
Yeah, mate.
Scotland are going to the fucking World Cup.
Mental.
Brilliant. Just before we get into everything, as usual, if you could follow us on our socials, it would be a big help to us. We're really trying to push this. On Twitter /X, we are at Sandeman ST Pod. That is Sandeman ST Pod. And on Instagram, we are at the Sandeman Street Pod. At the Sandeman Street Pod. If you are a regular listener on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, if you could do that, that would also give us a great help. And like all our videos, if you can as well, if you are listening on Spotify or Apple, but would prefer to listen on YouTube, you can find our link to our YouTube channel via the link trees on the social medias. So, Jack, obviously we're recording today, Wednesday. The Scotland-Denmark game was last night. A lot to talk about in that game, but we obviously are going to have to touch first of all on the Greece game that was on Saturday. A disappointing match, given how big a match it was, and given we didn't even really need to win the match, we just had to take a point. But I think we were like really the architects of our own downfall, weren't we?
Yeah, I kind of predicted it in my score predictions that we'll go on about later. I did say I think we would get beat to them. I just felt like it was one of the games where Greece would want to spoil the party, spoil the celebrations, spoil the mood, and I think I was right in that. Obviously, we were really, really poor for most of the game, to be honest. Well, obviously there was a lot of chances, but to concede 3 goals is, go 3-0 down is not great, and it is, as you say, of our own doing, really.
I mean, if you look through the key events, which is obviously the 5 goals within the match, if you look through them in order, so the first goal is just like Sunday League's defending. It's John Suter lets the ball bounce. They're on the back foot from them. John Suter and Robertson follow the same man. Now, you could probably blame Robertson for that particular incident because he's the deeper defender, so he's watching Suter's movements as well as the ball. So he should, and he's a very, very, very good defender, top defender playing for Liverpool. He should recognise that, in my opinion, and hold the run. For Suter to follow the potential pass, he holds the run and goes to the ball. The guy gets a free shot on goal. Craig Gordon makes a good save. You're thinking, right, we've got away with that one. The ball breaks straight to the guy on the edge of the box. Hanley goes in for the tackle. Now, I didn't really blame Grant Hanley, in all honesty, for that, because if he mistimes that tackle, it's a penalty. The boy obviously takes a sidestep, slots the ball in, so 1-0 down. We didn't really get going until maybe about 5-10 minutes before half time. We had one very good chance. Two very good chances, should I say. Scott McTominay first hits the bar. I probably wouldn't say that that's a very good chance. In my opinion, he could have took a touch and went into the box and then had a strike, but he hits the bar with his first time effort. Ben Doak then has a very good chance where either lift it or put it under the goalie and it's 1-1. And then right at the end of the half, Shea Adams has the header at the back post, which I think is a bit more difficult than people realise, but in my opinion, a striker playing at the level he's playing, it should probably still score it. Coming for the second half, seemed to be a bit more on the front foot, and then we concede 2 really, really poor goals. The first one, Hanley letting the boy past him on the halfway line. Didn't get me wrong, the boy finishes it well, but so preventable. Like, either just put the ball out for a throw or foul him. Like, just do something, but it does nothing. And then the third goal, didn't get me wrong, it's a cracking strike, but Craig Gordon's got to save it. He saves it into the goal. We'll get ourselves back in it with 2 good goals from Doak and Christie. But, I mean, as I said at the beginning of my monologue, like, architects of our own downfall, how many chances did we miss? I mean, we were round the goalie twice and didn't score. The McTominay one at the back post from across from the right, where the keeper turns into an octopus and somehow manages to save it with his feet. There could be more, but I mean, it just seemed to be one of those nights, didn't it?
Yeah, it just seemed like we weren't going to get the result we needed no matter how much we created, which turned out to be the case. Like you say, with 3 times we were 1-on-1 on the keeper and we can't score it. McTominay has an effort, he should score, keeper manages to get to it. It is just one of them nights where it's just not going your way, and ultimately we're lost because of that. But obviously we're going to talk about it soon, but thankfully it didn't have a big bearing on the future outcome of our qualification or not.
No, it didn't. I mean, I've long of this qualification group in particular has only been 6 matches, which is shorter than usual. Usually you'd have 8, sometimes more. But given if you have, it used to be. I'm pretty positive the groups used to be bigger, but there we go. But 6 games, there was really no margin for error. I've thought for at least since the 2 games in October where we played Greece and Belarus at Hampden and we were poor and managed to get 6 points. And I just thought there's something here that it just seems to be written in the stars for this team. And nothing solidified my thoughts on that more than when Belarus take a point in Copenhagen. I mean, that's unheard of.
Yeah. I think we've been poor, mate, for quite a few of the games in qualifying, to be honest. So maybe you're right in saying it has been written in the stars, because based on the performances, I don't think we've been anything spectacular or really good enough to qualify, but the results speak for themselves, really.
Yeah. I mean, the Belarus game at Hampden were really, really poor. The Greece game at Hampden weren't great. We turned on with, half an hour, 20 minutes to go, and won 3-1. And you could even argue last night, which we'll touch on in a minute, we weren't very good. I thought Denmark were very, very good. Even with 10 men, Denmark were good last night. On Saturday, though, which we're talking about at the moment, I thought when we went 3-0 down, after we went 3-0 down, we absolutely battered Greece. And we've played Greece 4 times this year. We've beaten them twice and lost twice. And that last 20 minutes is the best we've played against them.
Mm.
We're opening them up at will now. Yeah, they're 3-1 up, they're 3-0 up and defending a lead, and they've got nothing to play for in the grand scheme of things. But we battered them, played some really good football. The one where Christie runs in, and it ends up with Adams. So Christie runs in and he side foots it to Adams, which at that particular moment in time was the correct thing to do, but it shouldn't have been the correct thing to do, in my opinion, because he should have ran the ball in on goal and slotted it. But what happens is he takes a heavy touch and it then puts him on the back foot and he's rushing it because the keeper's coming out. So he has to side foot it to Adams. By the time Adams gets the ball, now he should score, but they've got 2 boys on the line. And he goes the wrong way as well. He should go the opposite way from the way that he went, and he would have had the whole goal to shoot it just about. But it's just really, really, really poor finishing, really. And there was another one where Adams, I think that the second one was a wee bit harder, but yeah, boys at that level should be scoring them sort of chances, shouldn't they?
Absolutely, mate. I may be controversial in saying this, but I don't know really what Adams brings to the team. Like, okay, he's obviously playing at a high level and he's got this experience, but I feel like he doesn't really contribute with goals. I don't know more so much about like his link-up play and whatnot, but I feel like Lyndon Dykes brings more to the team than what Shea Adams does. I think it's maybe just because of the level Shea Adams plays at that he gets picked over them. But he doesn't seem to be a goal scorer in my opinion, or bully back lines like the likes of Lyndon Dykes would. But yeah, mate, it's a you should really be scoring them chances when you get them, especially in games like them where they mean the most. Obviously, the pressure will be on you to score them, but when you're essentially got an open goal, mate, you should be hitting the back of the net.
Yeah, you should be scoring. But we'll move on to a lot more positive stuff. Last night, the game against Denmark. I mean, where do you even begin when you're talking about that? I don't know. I don't have a clue where to start when it comes to that.
It's probably got to be the overhead kick, right?
Oh, mate, that was right in front of us. We sit like where our seats are at Hampden. We always get the 5 game or whatever it is in the year home ticket pass thing. And I mean, our view is like bang in line with the 6-yard box. I'm not joking, yeah. I couldn't believe it. How he got that high for a start, and then I was convinced the ref would give a foul for high feet. He didn't.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the best goals I've ever seen in my life live at a match. It reminded me of the one Ronaldo scored for Real Madrid against Juventus. He just hung in the air for about half an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, that's outrageous. An outrageous goal.
It was a really good goal.
Yeah.
Really good goal.
I mean, they score that and the place just erupts. Like that celebration for that first goal was like nothing I'd seen previous. But then we'll get on to what happens later in the match. But Denmark are a good team, and they came into the game strong. Pretty much had the whole first half to themselves after we scored. I thought losing Doak was a big thing for us because see, I've said this on the podcast before, if we don't have Doak, we don't have wingers, and it's really difficult to play with 4 at the back with no wingers, because what happened was, in the first half especially, Hickey was getting killed on the right hand side, because he put Christie there, and Christie's naturally just wanting to come inside, and Hickey was having to deal with essentially 2 players every single time. They were making the boy Dorgu, who plays for a shit Man United team, look like Roberto Carlos. But how Denmark didn't score in that first half was beyond me. They had some amount of chances and they were blazing them all miles over the bar. They obviously come out for the second half. I take it you've seen the penalty.
Yeah, I've seen the VAR footage of the penalty.
What do you reckon about it? Because it's so hard to tell, in my opinion.
I think it's difficult because Robertson's foot is on the line, and you see them where it's on the line and they'll just give it as a free kick. But if we go by the rules of if the ball has to be fully over if the ball's partially on the line, it's considered in the box. If the keeper picks it up, for example, then it probably is a penalty. We don't obviously see all the angles. You kind of need an angle where it's dead on in line with the penalty box, and that way you'll be able to tell for certain whether the Denmark player gets made contact with inside or outside the box or on the line. And if it is on the line, I think probably according to the rules, it's a penalty. But it is a harsh penalty to receive.
See, correct me if I'm wrong in this, right? See, for example, if the Denmark player get the ball, right, and he's 5 yards outside the box, and Robertson's 2 yards outside the box, right, and he kicks the ball past Robertson into the box, and Robertson fouls him, right? Mm-hmm. Both players are outside the box, but the ball's in the box. That's a free kick, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm thinking is, and this might be totally wrong, but Robertson's standing on the line. You can clearly see that he's standing on the line of the box. So if Robertson's on the line, the boy must be outside the box, because the line is what? How thick is a white line in football?
Like 5 centimetres? No, 10 centimetres maybe?
About 10, 15, 20 centimetres, something like that. Those 2 players can't be that wide when they're both pressed together.
What they would say is the actual contact, though, will happen on the line. If Robertson's on the line, then the contact must happen on the line, which then
But
people are saying is a penalty.
but if Robertson's on the line, he's moving forward to tackle the boy, and the boy's not on the line. Robertson is.
The boy
I know,
Morrison
I
moves
know,
forward.
I know. In the grand scheme of things, that it doesn't really matter now. But I thought it was a. It's one of the ones, right, where it's so hard to call, you just didn't
Yeah.
give it.
No, you just give the free kick.
You know, you didn't even give a free kick because the ref didn't give a free kick in the first place.
Mm.
And I'll tell you something, right? That number 8, who was the one who got fouled, right? Good wee player. I think he plays for Lazio. Isaacson, I think his name is. Good wee player. Diving little bastard. And diving little bastard. And the referee, that referee that we had last night, I think he's deemed as the best in the world. Pretty sure he did the last World Cup final.
All right.
Argentina, France. And he has clearly been doing his homework on John McGinn, because John McGinn was getting nothing yesterday. And John McGinn's a diver as well, or he can be a diver. He loves the old rolling and falling to the ground. And the referee's been doing his homework and was they giving him any of them. He's obviously not been doing his homework on Isaacson, because every time somebody breathed on him, he was falling to the ground.
Yeah, you've not got a very fond opinion of divers, do you?
No. Especially when you're sitting watching it from about 4 different camera angles. I mean, when that penalty took about at least 3 or 4 minutes to give from VAR.
Yeah, it did take a while.
It took a while, but obviously they get the penalty. Hoyland scores. It was a good finish, good penalty from Hoyland, and it's 1-1. I thought that kind of woke Scotland up a wee bit. I felt like they needed Denmark to score, because they scored their goal and they just never done anything after it. Got a stroke of luck, I think, when Denmark went down to 10. Then I'm not convinced that's a book. I'm not even convinced it's a foul, to be honest. But yeah, we'll take the luck when we get it, I suppose. Shankland then scores. Good strikers finish from Shankland. And we're thinking, this has got to be it now. We're playing against 10 men. We're 2-1 up with, 15 minutes to go or something like that. But 12 minutes plus injury time. 15, 16, 17 minutes to go. You're thinking, right, we've got to see this out. And within 2 or 3 minutes, it's 2-2. So the atmosphere in the ground is like up, down, up, down, up, down. And then what happens? Kieran Tierney with a ridiculous goal. I mean, that's in that situation, under that pressure, the ball's bobbling and he just passes it in the net.
That's a great goal.
What a goal it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, under pressure, mate, as well. It's very easy for someone in that situation to just want to put their laces through it. But he took the right shot. He's placed it rather than put power behind it. Obviously, there's pace in it to beat Schmeichel, but it's a great goal. McGinn could have scored 5 passes earlier when it hit off Grant Hanley. So I think it was maybe not, I wouldn't say deserved, but for that passage of play, it deserved the goal. And it was a really good goal to be scored, and great timing as well.
Yeah. But the way that the game had been going, even then I thought, this isn't finished. And then the referee decides that he wants to play about 100 minutes of added time. You know, that the only time that I'll moan about time wasting, and then obviously the ref actually does apply the rules and plays on for time wasting, and I'm standing screaming for him to blow his full time whistle. He obviously played on for the times for the goal celebrations and whatnot. But I mean, Denmark, I think it was 6 minutes we got in the beginning. It ended up at 8 or 9, didn't it?
Yeah.
Denmark have only got themselves to blame for that 6 minutes, because some of the time wasting they were up to. And what was funny was, I don't know if you noticed it on the telly, when we went 3-2 up, we went and all celebrated the goal, and we come back into our half, and McTominay went down with cramp.
Oh, no, I've never seen that.
No, because all the other players were doing it.
Yep.
I don't know if you noticed when it went 2-2, all the players went off the pitch towards the Denmark fans, and they come back on the pitch, and Hoyland knew he was getting subbed, so he come on, walked about 20 yards into the pitch, and went down holding his hamstring.
I did see like 2 or 3 of them go down. I didn't see Highland, but I did see a couple of them.
In my opinion, the ref should be able to send them off for that.
Yeah, at least they're booking.
No, a booking's not strong enough, Jack, because then they just go off and get subbed anyway.
But if they're on a second yellow, then instantly they're not allowed to make that sub anymore.
I think if you were to turn around and say that that's a yellow card, what would happen is that the players would get clever about it, and a boy who wasn't on a booking would go down.
Well, yeah, but they go down anyway. So what difference does it make?
Yeah, well, that's true. But yeah, so 3-2 with Tierney, and then we're talking about McTominay's goal being ridiculous. Kenny McLean gets the ball, and I just remember being there, just being in that moment, and I'm screaming, pass it, pass it, pass it. I think it was a boy making a run down the left-hand side. It might have been Shankland. Either Shankland or Adams were running down the left, and I'm screaming, pass it, pass it. And then he hits it. And mate, you'll have had a better view on the from watching on the TV than I did at the match. But as soon as he hit it, it was in. You knew it was in.
We didn't know until it literally hit the net, mate.
It was a clean strike, and it never moved, like an arrow, straight as an arrow it was.
Have you seen the video of it on the telly? Stephen Thompson shouting, shit, shit!
Yeah. When I got home last night, I was high as a kite, obviously, when I got home last night, and I was going through Twitter and all sorts, and it was just like video after video of the same thing, and I just kept watching it, and it was... Steve, it was on the radio commentary. Have you heard the radio commentary of that goal?
I think I've heard every commentary of the goal, mate.
Yeah. And the boy's like, we just need to hold on for 2 minutes. He's like, my voice needs to hold on for 2 minutes. And then then obviously that goes in. And it's what a goal. See when that fourth goal went in, right? I was saying this to our pal that was at the match, well, a couple of pals that was at the match last night. I didn't think, as a Scotland supporter, that I could ever see Hampden lose its mind as much as when Griffiths scored that second free kick against England. But when that fourth goal went in, the place was absolute carnage.
Naturally. Mental. But apparently people were shouting on the streets. That's how Ern's mum knew that Scotland had won, as everyone was screaming on the streets outside the house.
I can't remember which goal it was. I'm tempted to say it was the second goal, the Shankland goal. I was rolling around on the stairs and everything.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, mental.
So,
scenes.
Martin was sitting next to me, and my other mate Ped was behind us, because that's just how we got the tickets. And he came, Ped came down there, to hug me, and Martin wanted to get out onto the road to run down the stairs, so he shoved me. I ended up lying on top of Ped and rolling around on the stairs and everything. As you can imagine, honestly, and it wasn't the most graceful fall in the world, but
something that'll live long in the memory,
mate. That is my favourite ever football moment, and it's really, really funny because we're sitting in the pub before it, we're speaking about club football and whatnot. And I was saying, I'm beginning to get a wee bit sick of football and all the stuff that goes on. And we're speaking about the decision at Falkirk, because we're mainly speaking about that Willie Collum referee show, and how he was saying that it was a penalty for Dundee, and if we'd won that match, we'd be here, but now we're here, and and I was saying, beginning to get really, really sick of football. And then you go into that match, and it just reminds you of why you go.
Yeah.
You go to football for moments like that, don't you?
Absolutely, mate. It's that's what you go to football for. Yeah, like you say, it's the last minute winners are the ones that mean the most, and it's always great when it happens, and that's, I think, why everyone likes football. Well, the people that like football, that's why they like it, because of moments like that.
See if you could bottle up the feeling of adrenaline when that fourth goal went in and sell that as a drug, you'd be a billionaire.
Yeah, You
Like
would.
that feeling when that fourth goal went in the net, I've never felt anything like it in my life. It was the best feeling I've ever had, I've ever felt, ever.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
just pure jubilation, pure serotonin and dopamine.
I mean, it was just amazing. Like I've never. Oh my god, I'm so happy that we're going to America. It's the one place that I would love to go to see a World Cup, and we've managed to do it. I mean, there's obviously been good World Cups since we last qualified in France with Japan, South Korea. You've had Germany, which would have been a good one because the Euros were good there. South Africa, Brazil would have been a good one to go to. Russia, maybe not, and Qatar, maybe not, but this is probably as good as it gets in terms of hosts. I mean, I think a lot of people might disagree with me on this, but I genuinely do think that if you get an American stadium, or three different American stadiums, yeah, they're not really built for football, our football,
Mm-hmm.
but the spectacles that you'll get from them are amazing. And I'm just speaking about 2 weeks ago. I was in the MetLife for the American football. Went to see the 49ers, and that's going to host the World Cup final.
Mm.
And they're just amazing. Like they're so different to British stadiums. Like for example, they've got escalators.
Yeah.
Escalators all the way up to the top tier. You might get them in the New English stadiums, right enough. You didn't get them in Scotland. You didn't get that up to the Derry.
No, definitely not.
No. So yeah, it's a dream of mine to go and see Scotland in a World Cup, especially in America. So what will happen? We'll get a Canada and a Mexico couple of games, and that'll be that for me.
Sort of. That's life complete.
I know. Just quickly, well, if you're listening on YouTube, I'll put this on screen now. The score predictions from the two games there. As far as I'm aware, I think Jack might have got a point, and I might have got a point. So for the Greece game, I went 1-1, and Jack went 2-0 Greece. So 3-2 Greece, Jack gets a point, I get none. And for Denmark, I went 2-1 Scotland, and Jack went one each. So I get a point, and Jack gets a point. So I'm right in saying that I think that puts us on to either 3 or 4 points each.
Yeah.
So we're joint. Well, there's nothing to separate us in this challenge, but if you listen to a wee bit later on, there might be something to separate us in the Futbology challenge. We'll move on to some more club matters now, though, to the return of the club football, which I always feel like when you go on international breaks, especially international breaks like that, where something really exciting's happened or whatever, you feel like when you come back from the international break that it's the club football's been away for forever.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's been less than 2 weeks. So this weekend, United are at home to Falkirk. What's your thoughts on that?
Tough game, mate. I think I mentioned it last week. It's a tough place. Not a tough place to go. They're playing us at Tannadice, but they're a good team, mate. They're like I said at the start of the season, they've got that continuity from having the same players the last couple of seasons, and they know each other really well, and they're doing really well at the moment. I think before that Livy game finished, when they were 1-0 up, they were sitting in third in the table, so they're clearly a team that's capable of causing problems. They have just signed Ryan Edwards, signed him a couple of weeks ago, ex-Dundee United centre-back, who was good for us, to be fair. I thought prior to the relegation season we had with him in it, I thought he was actually solid. So it'll be interesting to see what he's like with them. It's going to be, like I say, it's going to be a tough game, mate. I don't think we've been particularly good this season. A lot of people have said that United are doing really well, but the table says otherwise. I don't think we've done amazing by any means. But yeah, it'll be interesting. I think Max Waters, there's pictures of him training again, so I don't think he'll be fit for the game, but he might be on the bench. Who knows? But it gives us another option, and hopefully the international break will have gave us enough time to prepare and get some boys fit and ready to get a result against them.
Well, it's been a while since we've seen Max Waters. That is probably the Vienna game, something like that.
It will be, yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
been a while.
yep. It'll be interesting to see him back, if he gets back this week.
So I know we're kind of halfway through the week, and the week's obviously beginning of this week's been dominated by international football. But is there any team news so far this week? Any boys coming back from injury? Obviously, you touched on Waters. Any boys who are going to be injured? Like, the United haven't had have had plenty of injuries this season. Is there still boys out? Like, what's the team news?
I've not seen anything regarding any new injuries. I know Ross Graham's still injured. I don't think he'll be back. I don't think he'll be back for the Falkirk game unless they're keeping it under wraps. Isaac Papo, he's going to be out to the new year anyway. When he got injured against Rapid Vienna in the first game, I think that was an ACL injury, so he'll be out for another couple of months anyway, I would imagine. But no, I can't say I've heard of any new injury news. I've not heard of anyone being fit, like, from injury, so I think it's still the same team as we've had for the last few weeks.
The boy Papo's never really taken off, has he?
Well, he's been injured since the first game of Rapid Vienna, so...
Oh, right,
not,
fair enough then.
We've not had a chance to see him. He looked pretty good when he was playing, but he suffered a bad injury, so...
Well, that's fair enough then. Falkirk. They've obviously had quite a few good results recently. Most of them being at home, though. I think all of them have been at home. They've had ourselves, Kilmarnock and Livingston, 7 points from 9. They were also away to Celtic within that, and they got beaten. Martin O'Neill's first game back as interim manager. What are you expecting from them? Having seen them myself, I can't see any reason why United wouldn't be confident of winning this game, especially at Tannadice.
Yeah, like I said, they're clearly a decent team. They're picking up results. They've done better than us in the first 11 games of the season so far, which is reflected in the points table. So they're clearly a decent team. I think they'll be difficult to score against. They've obviously just signed, like I said, they've just signed Ryan Edwards. They've also got Scott Bain in goal. So yeah, I think it could be difficult. They seem to be able to score goals though, which is a good thing. Keep them out on the other hand is a different matter, but I reckon we could score one against them, but it's whether we keep it out at the other end that's going to be the interesting thing.
Do you think Scott Bain will get a warm welcome?
Probably not. Definitely not, actually.
Do you think he'll get a warm welcome like he did when we played them at Falkirk Stadium?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
something like that.
A warmer welcome.
Warmer welcome. Yeah.
You just have to get your big boy back, the big striker back, to blow kisses at him when he scores penalties, and then get bit.
Yeah, true. True.
So, we've obviously touched on Falkirk, we've touched on United. What do you think the score's going to be in this one? You can go first since it's United.
I think I'm going to go 1-0 United. Yeah, I'm going to go 1-0 United for this one.
You know what? Go big or go home. I'm going to go 3-1 United.
Oh, you're confident. Yeah, I think it'll be a close game, and I think there might be one goal in it.
Fair enough. We'll move on to Dundee's return from international football, which I'm really not looking forward to. They're away to Hibs at Easter Road on Saturday. Now, normally I'd be looking forward to that because Hibs at Easter Road is one of our big kind of jaunts, one of the away games that we look forward to the most. I get the train through rather than the bus, have a day out, whatnot. Not going to be quite like that this weekend. We are going to be getting the train through, but it's going to be cut short because we've got a party at night. But we're obviously looking forward to that more than I'm looking forward to the match. The match itself, though, having seen Hibs' first game of the season, Dundee I would say they weren't at full strength. They're still not at full strength. They're a wee bit better than they were in the first game of the season. But that was the type of game where Hibs went 2-0 up. The 2 goals were from really poor defending from Dundee. And then Dundee got a goal back, but never ever looked like they were ever going to equalise in the game. Hibs were very comfortable. They were just off the back of a European game and they absolutely strolled it at the ends. And if Saturday's anything like that, it's going to be a long afternoon. When we were last at Easter Road, we got a bit of a hammer. I think it would maybe been 4-0 live on Premier on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know what you're thinking about this, but I'm not optimistic, and I can't see very much positive outcomes this weekend for Dundee.
No, it's definitely a hard game for Dundee. I don't think you've got a great record against Hibs. I could be wrong in saying that.
No, we've not got a good record. Well, we've not won at Easter Road for 20 odd years, but even overall, I think we've only got like 2 wins and 15 or something against Hibs in general.
Yeah, so like obviously history says that you're not going to win it. Really, it is a tough game. Hibs are clearly a good team. They've maybe not had the start of the season that they've wanted, but it doesn't mean they're not capable of putting out good performances. And I think it is, like you say, it's going to be a tough game for Dundee to get anything out of. I think you can maybe hope to get a point out of it. Maybe go quite defensive and do what you've done against the Old Firm and just being difficult to score against and hitting on the break. And that's probably your best chance. Whether Stephen Presley thinks that's the best way to go about it, obviously that's his prerogative. But I think that's the best way you can go out and get a result or anything out of this game.
Yeah, I think it's exactly the way that he will be playing. I can't see anything other than that. I don't think he's going to go gun-ho. He openly admitted that he opened up a wee bit more at Pittodrie based on Aberdeen's early season struggles. And look what happened there. They were 3-0 down after half an hour or something. So, yeah, they're not going to go there and open up. They're going to go there and play cautious football and see what happens, I think.
Is there any team news or anything for Dundee?
Not that I've seen. Hoping that Clark Robertson will be back. Clark Robertson was out of the Rangers game. I think it was a bruised ankle or something like that. But they were hopeful that he'd be back in time for the Hibs game. And I hope he does make it, because although he's not the best defender in the world by any stretch of the imagination, he certainly helps out with especially Ashley and Graham, and I just didn't think Cometti was up to that. And in terms of a like-for-like replacement, he doesn't bring the same level of experience. He doesn't bring that order in the defence around type thing that Clark Robertson does. So I'm hoping that he'll be fit. That would be a big bonus for us, I do reckon. But other than that, I don't think there's very much in the way of injuries. I know that Simon Murray's obviously been carrying an injury most of the season. Hopefully with having a bit of a 2-week gap, that's maybe cleared up a bit more and he can be more effective, because when he's been starting recently, he's been pretty much non-existent. He did play a wee bit better when he come on against Rangers, him and Danda, who I almost forgot even played for us, in all honesty. Honestly, like, see, when he signed, I thought that's a really good signing. He's been very, very underwhelming.
Invisible.
To be fair to him, right, he's not been getting played in his proper position, and I don't think with the way that Dundee need to play, because of the way that the players that they've got, you can't get him and Congreve in the same team without opening up. Because unless you go 4-2-3-1,
yep,
you're not going to be able to get the two of them in the team. You've seen flashes of it against Livingston and Motherwell. Motherwell, and then he got sent off against Motherwell. Did he play against them? Pretty sure he did play against Livingston. can't mind. But anyway, he played well against Motherwell. You've seen flashes of that, and then he ended up getting himself sent off. So that you could see, obviously, there's always a player in there. I've seen that when he was at Ross County. I just didn't think that the way that Stephen Press is going to play this season is going to suit him, and you're not going to get the best out of him on a regular basis. But you never know. He might come good eventually.
Yeah, he may not be fit. You don't know. I mean, you'd think he would be, but he might be carrying a knock or whatnot.
Yeah, and I think he's the most suspended player in Premier League this season.
What, in terms of bookings?
No, in terms of suspension. So he came into this season with a 2-game ban because he got sent off on the last day of last season.
Right.
Or a 3-game ban. Was it a 3-game ban? Because he missed 2 of our games, or he missed 1 of our games. But anyway, he missed at least 1 of our games, and then he got sent off, so he missed another 2 games, and he couldn't play against Hearts, so he missed the Hearts game as well.
God. That's wild.
I know. Anyway, we'll move on to the score predictions. So I go first. I'm going to go big or go home again. I'm going to go 3-0 Hibs.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
You can go 3-0 Hibs as well if you like.
No, I'll change it. I'll go 2-0 Hibs.
You go 2-0 Hibs, right? So
yeah.
Just bear with me whilst I write those down. So I've went with 3-1 United, and I've went for 3-0 to the Hibbies, or the Hibees, whatever
Hibees
takes your fancy. And you have went for 1-0 United.
Yep.
And what was your 2-0 Hibs?
2-0 Hibs.
Okay. So we'll get that onto the spreadsheet for next week's score predictor. Now, Futbology challenge time. So we started off this podcast not knowing if Martin had a game or not. He has since texted. So saved by the bell in that instance. Jack, forfeit week for you this week.
It was.
So your march with points has slowed a wee bit, but not to worry. I've had a defeat. So you wouldn't have anything to worry about in terms of going bottom of the league. We'll start off with Martin, because Martin's game was earlier. I like to do these in kind of how far back they were. So Martin's game was from the 19th of November 2011. It was a game against Hearts at Tannadice, and it finished Dundee United 1, Hearts 0. The goal scorer was Scott Robertson on 24 minutes. The managers were Peter Houston and Paulo Sergio. Now, Jack, these names are going to be a blast from the past. So, United starting 11. Dusan Pernis, Gary Kenneth, Gavin Gunnan, Paul Dixon, Robbie Nielsen, Gary Mackay-Stephen, John Rankin, Scott Robertson, Will Flood, Johnny Russell and John Daly. And the bench, Steve Banks, Keith Watson, Sean Dillon, Barry Douglas, Stuart Armstrong, Laurie Dallaval and Ryan Dow.
Quite a couple of cup winners in that squad, especially Dusan Pernis, Gary Kenneth, etc. They won the Scottish Cup. It's actually a good team, mate. Got quite a few good players in there. It's just a shame they never won anything else. Obviously got boys like Johnny Russell in there, Stuart Armstrong, GMS, who have all went on to have good careers. I can't say I remember the game, to be honest, but it's a good result and a good team.
As for Hearts, their starting 11 was Marianne Kello, Andy Webster, Marius Alukas, Ryan McGowan, Rudy Scatchell, Ryan Stevenson, Jamie Hamill, David Templeton, Eggert Johnson, Adrian Morawick and John Sutton. And on the bench, Jamie McDonald, David Abua, Mehdi Taul, Stephen Elliott, Gordon Smith, Scott Robinson and Arvidas Novikobas. So there's another 3 points on the board for Martin. The game that I had was from the 19th of November 2016. It finished Rangers 1, Dundee 0, and a goal from Harry Forrester in the 92nd minute. Yeah, that was devastating. So the managers were Mark Warburton and Paul Hartley. Rangers starting 11, Wes Fotheringham, James Tavernier, Clint Hill, Rob Kiernan, Lee Wallace, Josh Windass, Andy Halliday, Jason Holt, Joe Garner, Kenny Miller and Michael O'Halloran. And their bench, Matt Gilks, Danny Wilson, Lee Hodson, Matt Crooks, Joe Dodu, Harry Forrester and Barry Mackay. For Dundee, Scott Bain, Kostadin Gadzalov, Kevin Gomis, Kevin Holt, Cammy Kerr, Darren O'Dea, Tom Haitley, Paul McGowan, James Vincent, Marcus Haber and Craig Whiten. And the bench was David Mitchell, Julian Exchebaguren, Nick Ross, Faisal El Baktui, Michael Duffy, Rory Loy and Danny Williams. Harry Forrester, 92nd minute, I'll never forget it. It was one of the games where you were holding them out, and let's face it, if I run through that team, it's hardly a Rangers team I'd be scared of.
No.
We're holding them out, and then in the last minute, as it said to you, they're across from the left-hand side, and he headed it back the way and it went in the back post and in. And the 4,000 of the 50 that started Rangers fans that were left were going absolutely mental, and we're in that corner like, oh, for God's sake. So, yeah, that was a good one. So that keeps me bottom of the league. Another defeat, at least it's not a high-scoring one, so a goal difference isn't to take a baton. But I'll have obviously put the scores and the league table on screen a few minutes ago, so you can see that on your screen now. Martin's extended his lead at the top of the league. I don't think he's going to be catched, in all honesty. Or caught, should I say.
I doubt it.
Quickly run through the fixtures for this weekend. So United Falkirk, Hibs Dundee, Killie Motherwell, Rangers Livy, St Mirren Celtic. And on Sunday is Aberdeen against Hearts. Just a quick one, Jack. Going back to Scotland before we wrap up. The World Cup draw for the group stage is on Friday the 5th of December at 5 p.m. So we'll all be looking forward to that. If there was one team, Jack, that you'd like to face, who would it be?
Give me Haiti.
Haiti.
So yeah, mate.
Curacao.
Curacao. That's 3 points on the board. There you go.
No Scotland in the World Cup. If you obviously won't remember it because neither of us were born, but Scotland qualified for Italian 90 and their first game of that World Cup was against another Caribbean/Central American team, Costa Rica, and they got beat 1-0. So
yeah,
if there's anybody old enough to remember that, there'll be plenty of people who are. They will not agree with you on the Haiti/Curacao argument. The team that I would love to face is Argentina.
Why?
I'd love to see Scotland come up against Messi and the reigning champions.
Fair. Go big or go home, right?
Go big or go home, mate. You're going away all the way across. They'll bring thousands of fans. It'll just be an amazing experience. Anyway, that is the end of episode 20 of the Sandeman Street podcast. We're obviously not recording as long as we probably usually do today. My voice has gone for last night. Jack's voice has gone for screaming at the telly last night. But just before we go, as usual, social media platforms. On Twitter X, we are at Sandeman ST Pod. That is at Sandeman ST Pod. And on Instagram, we are at the Sandeman Street Pod. At the Sandeman Street Pod. And if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, that would be much appreciated. Jack, anything before we go?
Come on, Scotland.
Come on, Scotland, indeed. And we'll be looking forward to that draw on the 5th of December. So, anyway, thanks everyone for listening and have a really good weekend. Cheers.